today is day 3. The topic is the impact of adverse childhood experiences. The impact of adverse childhood experiences. Hi everyone, I'm Toyin Okunuga. I'm the CEO of Hush to Raw, and I'm excited to be here. And I will say this is actually a special edition. Adverse childhood experiences. What is this all about? It's about all the unfortunate events that a child goes through to teens before they reach the age of 18. Now, if this experience becomes traumatic or prolonged, it might not even just be prolonged, it might just be something that happens that is out of sync with the body's normal homeostasis. So it's not normal for a child to undergo so much traumatic experiences. This could be emotional, physical, sexual, domestic violence, anything that impacts the child negatively and actually can stay with the child for as long as it's gone untreated for. So today I'll be talking about what the impact that these adverse experiences can have on a child through to the teen. So I can't even begin to tell you how traumatic it can be for a child and a teenager to go through experiences that they would just be quiet about, they will not share it with anyone. And as I've written in the comments, you'll see that there are various things that come out of traumatic experiences, such as domestic violence in the home, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, or anything, a divorce that's not really had a lot of good, effective communication around it can also be traumatic. So what are the signs that we can look out for? Because this is what I'm all about, because I've had some not so pretty experiences in my life. And it's from there that I know the signs, because obviously I've been through it, right? And the reason I'm doing this is because many a times people who have not gone through it believe that they will know the signs and they can tell when a child is going through some sort of adverse experience. And I can tell you that it's not all children, or certainly in my case, you wouldn't see me crawled up as you often see images shown that they'll be crouched up in a corner with their knees to their chest and that's them in a little corner in the toilet. No. In fact, if truth be told, I'll tell you that people might say I was the life of the party, or I was the one that would be always smiling, or you just would never tell. So the signs are crucial to spot. And like I pointed out in the comments, they can be from being sort of like feeling isolated, feeling lonely, even if you have a lot of friends, running away from home, having behavioral behaviors that you believe why, and or erratic behaviors that you think, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? Or it could be a mention, just something that's mentioned, and that person will be like so snappy. And someone who's actually not going through that experience or any similar childhood experience which is adverse, the impacting on them, if they're not going through it, they might actually be more regulated in their response. But if a child has gone through it, and it just might be a trigger, and if you've not gone through it and you're with the person, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? And you might think, I'm all right, why are you not all right with that? And these are the sort of signs that you might think, that's strange. That was said in jest. That was not meant to be offensive to anyone. Why are you just taking it? Why are you taking offense? And these are the little signs that you can tell that someone's going through. Not always, because there's always an exception in all rules. But all I'm trying to say is that it's not all the time that someone's crouching up, chest, knees to the chest, crying in a corner like that. All I'm saying is that, and also You might feel that there are only specific families that that traumatic experience can be related to. Again, I'll say no. You might think that people who are from a not so affluent background are the ones who will go through that experience, or who are going through a traumatic experience of physical, emotional, sexual abuse specifically. And you think, oh, that person doesn't fit the bill of who would have gone through that traumatic experience. Let's focus our attention on that family. Well, I'll have you know that's another myth, because many a times the people that seem all right, they are up there doing lovely jobs. They're managing directors. They are all sorts of head of banks and businesses, corporate. They work in so many places, and they might have gone through adverse childhood experiences. And why do they seem to just climb the ladder and just go? Because they want to bury that past of them. They want to hide it and just believe, or just try to feel that nothing's happened. So as a child, it's almost the same. A child cannot go through an experience for so long and continue. So what does that child do? The child will park that experience and be what? Will dissociate from that experience, because the body cannot physically accept that traumatic experience and also do different types of things during the day. So a child cannot be in school, do this, do that, and also have that traumatic experience. The brain cannot cope with it. The amygdala, the limbic system, will just have to regulate it in a way that it's parked so that it can do other stuff. And that's why you'll see the child looking normal, as if everything is fine. And that's why, again, you'll see the child snap, maybe when they're at school. Now, just from my experience, yeah, I would just snap because of some experiences that I've gone through. And what might seem normal to others, or someone might not feel it's a big deal, to me, I'll get so emotional. And if you're my friend out there, and you can testify that, I'd get so emotional about some things, because some of them were triggers to me, where someone might laugh about, I could just shout at that person, that stop laughing, it's not funny. And you're like, what's up with you, Toyin? Calm down. So these are the signs we need to look out for in children. As I said again, they don't just crouch, you don't just see them in a corner. They're the ones, sometimes they try to hide it, dissociate from the whole event, and try to be the best they can be, because what? They need to shield. They need to hide what they're going through, actually. They hide it so well that you will never believe that they're going through that traumatic experience. So running away from home, if you're out there, and your neighbors, we all need to sort of like be our neighbor's keeper. We need to look after our children, the children's other people's children. If we sense anything that's going on, I think it's our responsibility to roar, to roar and say, this is not acceptable. And we can't hide people who are perpetrators, because it's not acceptable. You can't, because of culture, say that, well, I'm not going to say anything, even though I know that something's going on. You just cannot say, for that reason, I'll see that child suffer, because I have to protect the identity of this person, or I have my loyalty lies with this person. That's not how God wants us to do things, if you believe in God. And your soul should be at peace with what you're doing. So I know it's a difficult one. I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but I probably, from where I am right now, I believe that I can do both. So this is almost my mantra now, where people say, oh my gosh, you can't do this. You can't say you've forgiven someone, yet you're going to come out with your story. Well, I'll disagree and say, yes, I can. I can be contemplative. And when I say contemplative, I mean, I don't need to do either or. I don't need to see a child suffer, and because I know my story can help children out there, I don't need to say, okay, I'm going to leave that child to suffer because I need to protect an identity of someone else, or I need to not say anything now because, let that lie. No, I can do both. It can be an and. So I can forgive, but I can also try and stop what's such an invisible illness, which is child abuse. We can stop this if we work together, if we are true to ourselves, if we're authentic, if we are truly compassionate people, if we are religious, if we say we're religious and we're children of God and we go out every day. We together owe it to the children and to ourselves to heal, but also to bring others through. That's one facet to it. But the other facet to it is that we need to not see a child and turn a blind eye, a child who's going through traumatic experiences, just because the person who's been abusive to that child is someone in authority. We need to stamp out these sort of things because it's just not acceptable, because that child needs to live a peaceful life, deserves to live a fulfilling and purposeful life, just as well as the person that you're forgiving needs to be at peace with themselves. But as I said, I can do both. I don't need to not, forgive and say that's it, and I'll keep my mouth shut. So I can see that child suffering, but I've said I'll forgive, so I'm not going to say anything. So that is just not the way I believe personally. I know that this is the right thing to do. Otherwise, I would not be comfortable doing it, because I tell you, it's not an easy task. It's not easy to publish your story if you've had traumatic experiences, and especially if it's something to do with family. It's a lonely journey. It's a very lonely journey. So today, I would like to implore with you guys out there that we should truly be the compassionate person or people that we say we are, by coming out and saying enough is enough. Child abuse needs to stop, full stop. It's, for me, childhood trauma is right down up my street, and I want to stamp it out where possible, because I know it's possible if many of us come out and say enough is enough. Because later on in my journey, I'll show you, or I'll be going through the impacts it has as an adult. So children, loneliness, isolation, running away from home, the academic attainment alone is just, don't even go there. You'll have no idea. The retentive memory, because the brain has everything to do with a traumatic experience. So when you're studying, you'll just not have anything in your head because of what you've experienced. And of course, it's not just that's not the only reason why you might not be performing well. So I'm not saying it's a blanket way of saying, oh, because that person's not performing, it's because they're going through something. All I'm saying is, if there are signs that are not quite balancing with the person's character, or the person's snappy, the person's studying and uneasy, then it could be the fact that that person's going through an experience, but no one's seen the signs. No one's pointed it out to say we need to delve further into this child's home or into this child's life, because I can tell you, we hide traumatic experiences very well. We hide adverse experiences very well. So if you've not gone through it, or if the children will not come to us, we have to go to the children. It's just impossible for the children to come to us if they're going through something that's it's like an inescapable moment. It's the shock. It's the flight or fright moment where their body has frozen in time and they're just existing because they need to get through every single day of their lives. And that is why it's an inescapable shock, where you believe, why didn't that person say anything all this while? It's to do with the brain. And you will know that it's just, it's not a walk in a path if a child goes through traumatic experiences. Traumatic experiences, they're not as we think they are. Children will not, it will not be obvious if someone's going through a traumatic experience. Now, I will share with you my link, which has my second freebie snippet to my book. So you can copy this link, which is childhood trauma, https:// bookship.com/KAXBFK. And you can just have a little, tippy toe into my journey before the release of my book, which I've not got the date yet, but as soon as I do get it, I will let you know. So yes, that's the link for that one. And like I said, we need to cure, or we need to stop pretending that one child out there's life is not affecting all of us. And if you have gone through it, you will know how painful it is when you listen or you hear someone going through traumatic experiences as a child. It's something that you just cannot ignore if you've gone through it and you are an empath. Like, I mean, I can almost sometimes say I am an empath, because when you've gone through so many experiences that are traumatic, you can only but feel empathy for those who are going through, and you cannot just sit with yourself. Well, I know I can't sit with myself, even as uncomfortable as it is that this this story that I'm about to release is for me. It is a story which is dark, which is deep, but I have to do it. So I've come to the end of that session.